Hello, I am a moment late, but that's not a big deal. Start blank room. Um, if you see me scratching at my chest, yell at me. I've had an allergic reaction to something, and it makes me my skin break out and flake off, and it gets really itchy. So, um, let's pull up my thing now that I've given you that TMI. Uh, bu- bu- bu. Here we go. Alrighty. Um, yeah, so today we are playing as as soft as you remember, which is a game by I've forgotten their name, but they go by Beating the Binary or Arani at Araniyama on Twitter. And I did link to their Twitter in my and the game in my announcement thread for today's stream. So do go check those out if you're interested. I'll plug them again at the end of the stream. Um, but yeah, let's get started reading through the game. Um, so as soft as you remember, by Moss Bosch. Moss Bosch. I might be pronouncing the last name wrong, but to play this game, you will remember a soft, comfortable piece of clothing, which I have. I have my favorite hoodie here. A salty snack. I have some crackers. A deck of cards. I have playingcards.io. Fuck. That's fine. Okay, the deck's still there. A quiet place. Yes, I am alone in this room with you, but alone. And or and maybe fellow player whom you can trust. It's cool that this game is one or two players. I enjoy that. But I am playing solo at this time, so we'll use the solo rules. So there's some flavor text up top here. You are a Selkie, a shapeshifter who lives as a seal in the water, but on certain nights can take off your seal skin and move as a human upon the land. Years ago, your skin was stolen from you by someone who said they loved you, and its loss kept you anchored to them and to the human world. Today, your long search has been rewarded. You have found your skin. Set the piece of clothing on your lap and feel its familiar texture. This is your skin, though you have not held it for a long time. How was it first taken from you? What was your first impression of the one who took it? How and where did you find it again? So, I'm so bad at coming up. Um, I'm just looking. Sorry, I just got completely distracted by the next paragraph, which describes some complicated things with the cards that I don't know how to do on this. Uh, okay. Yes, okay, I've cut the cards. And then I see which one of these has the Queen of Hearts in it. Not looking at the other cards, not looking at the other cards. There, okay, that's the Queen of Hearts. Alright. I'll just shuffle this deck before I continue. I should have put those up. Here we go. Shuffle stack, flip stack. Okay. Here we go. So set the piece of clothing on your lap and feel its familiar texture. This is your skin that you have not held it for a long time. How was it first taken from you? What was your first impression of the one who took it? And how and where did you find it again? So what I'm tempted to do here is I actually have a player character in one of my playtest campaigns who's a Selkie. So I'm gonna play as her, I think. So imagine that her skin was taken when she was very young. Probably a teenager. And that was taken by, you know, like the text says, the skin was taken by somebody who said they loved me. So, I think it was probably taken just the, the classic way, the classic way from all of the folk tales when they are seduced by a man who then steals the cloak. I think it's that, basically, just like, but probably like another teenager, like a teenage boy, let's say. We got close, and then insecure, scared that I would leave. He stole my skin. And hid it. My first impression of the one who took it was just like excitement at meeting a human. Like infatuation. The kind of infatuation you get when you meet someone who's different from you for the first time, Yeah. And how and where did I find it again? I think it wasn't long before me and the boy broke up. But it was a few years later that I found the skin again. Like, I think that he either took it with him when he left, or he hid it, and I left without it in order to get away. I think that one, actually. I think I left without it in order to get away, and I left the town, went somewhere else, maybe inland, without my skin, rather than stay there with this boy. So eventually I returned and took it back, but for a while there, I was without it voluntarily. Sort of voluntarily. Set the food in the deck of cards in front of you. Find the Queen of Hearts and the Jokers and remove them from the deck. Shuffle the rest of the deck, cut it roughly in half and set one half aside. Shuffle the Queen of Hearts back into the other half. This is your deck. So I've taken this middle one as my deck. Draw cards one at a time, thinking about a question or theme from a suit and or card number with each one. When you feel like you have answered a question or given yourself a satisfying moment of reflection on a theme, move on to a new card. For solo play, when you draw the Queen of Hearts, you are ready to don your skin again and leave the land behind. Pull on the piece of clothing from your lap and place a piece of food on your tongue and taste the salt of the ocean as you can return to your home. I was just gonna lick it because I got my crackers are gonna be crunchy, and I don't want to like crunch into the microphone. I don't think that's like gonna be good radio. So I guess I'll just like lick the crackers over it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do there. I did actually read this paragraph, this part here before I started this one time because I knew there were things I needed that weren't like standard. So this is probably the first time I've ever read the rules before starting the game. But I haven't read the prompts at all. Just made sure that I had everything I needed. Put on a singlet because I was just wearing my hoodie over my over a like sports bra. I didn't really want to just be on camera in my ready sports bra, so I've put on a singlet so that because I would have just been wearing my hoodie, that was my plan, but no, I've got to put the piece of clothing on. I can't put anything on over this hoodie. It's like the biggest piece of clothing I own. So, yeah, I will read the two players thing as well. Not because I'm doing it, just because I'm interested in it. So, one of you is the Selkie and one is the Sea. Before play, talk about what kind of tone you're comfortable having in your game and decide on a clear way for either player to signal if a question or topic is not the one they are comfortable including in gameplay. C. Draw the cards and ask one themed question of the Selkie for each one, determining the answer in dialogue with each other. You may choose to suggest details and memories from their old life that they are coming back to as they hold their skin again. They are coming back as they hold their skin again. Right, the memories are coming back. Not the old life they're going back to. Right, got you. When you draw the Queen of Hearts, offer them the taste of salt. Let them put their skin back on and come to you. Open your arms to welcome them home. This game is a love letter to Selkie tales and to the power of shapeshifter narratives to help us contextualize our own lives. It is also a meditation on what it can feel like to leave an abusive relationship, an unsafe living situation, or an unsupportive community. As a Selkie, you can choose to return tenderly to the parts of yourself that have been hidden and crushed or pulled out, only to be used against you and welcome them back into yourself. Okay. Suit themes. Clubs, cruelty, intensity, overwhelm, power. Something dear to you was a piece of your soul was kept from you for a long time. How and where did that hurt? Did anyone make it more or less painful for you? How have you survived? Hearts, love, obligation, intimacy, family. What has love looked like in your life, on land and sea? Have there been any? Who and what have you felt close to? Diamonds. Wealth, stress, distance, appearances. What has it felt like to be seen as a human? What of your old life has felt devalued among humans? Spades. Work, land, routine, and ritual. There are labours on land that differ from your life in the sea. How have you faced them? Are there any that grew to feel natural? Card themes. Mix and match these with elements with the themes and questions associated with the four suits to generate new questions and prompts for reflection. Ace. Isolation, reflection, personal space. 2. Duality, contrast, partnership. 3. Creative practices, ritual, routine. 4. Judgment, seasons, the passage of time. 5. Handiwork, the senses, the spirituality. 6. Quiet introspection, skill. 7. Luck, surprise, boldness. 8. Outdoor spaces, sound and music. 9. Warmth, secret, friendships. 10. Journey, justice, the completion of a task. Jack, a moment of laughter, relief or humour. Queen, a moment of confidence, and or a break from a hurtful pattern. King, the discovery of an unexpected resource, social, emotional, and or physical. Okay, let's get into it. Um, Normally I'd write things down, but last week I just said things out loud. And I'm actually happy to do that again this time. It'll stop me from doing the thing where I read and write without saying anything aloud, because I'll have to say something for it to be like recorded. So we're gonna do that again this week. So let's start. Let's see what our first card is. Actually, you know what I might do? I might do this. This is weird. Okay, can I zoom in? No. More options. No. Unit table. Room options. No. Okay, never mind. Okay. Flip the first card. The Two of Clubs. Duality, contrast, partnership, and cruelty, intensity, overwhelm, power. Interesting. I think that in this case, what this is a you know when sometimes people get into a relationship with somebody who's cruel or mean or rude or dismissive, they'll sometimes start emulating those traits. I wonder if early in the relationship between my Selkie and her partner, they were cruel to other people together. Not like extremely cruel, but bullies. The way teenagers can be. When they have the backup of somebody in their corner, which these two thought they had each other. So I think hang on. And actually I think that was a good way, not a good way, not a healthy way, but a way that my Selkie like externalized the pain she was feeling at no longer having her skin, was by leaning in and pretending she never needed it, and exerting power over others as compensation, let's say. Not now, Dell Support Assist. I'm busy. Yeah. Let's go with the next card. Ace of Hearts. Isolation, reflection, personal space, love, obligation, intimacy, family. I think after finally leaving the partner behind and without her skin, but leaving this guy behind that she's been so caught up in for however long, she has to take a moment to grieve. And grieve their relationship and what she thought the relationship was. And the love that she genuinely felt at the beginning of that relationship. Yeah, I think it's like a scene of this girl free for the first time in her early 20s, like sitting in a motel, eating like takeout on the bed, and just crying very quietly, like almost numbly, still eating, just allowing the emotion to wash over her. Okay. The Four of Hearts. Judgment seasons the passage of time. Okay. Following on from that, then, I guess over the years, because I think she does spend years without this guy before returning back, that mourning for the relationship that was fades. It starts to feel like it was a different person. Like the person who was harmed was someone that no longer exists, because the life that she lives now is so different from that life and that experience and the person she was when she had that experience, that she becomes detached from it, and even judgmental of her past self. But the way that people are judgmental of teenagers, not in a, well, you brought this on yourself kind of way, but more of a, well, yeah, this is going to happen because you're a teenager and teenagers make these kinds of mistakes way. There's not much you could have done about it, but it's over now. You've been through it. But yeah, like a detachment from that. The Queen of Spades. A moment of confidence and or a break from a hurtful pattern. Work, land, routine, and ritual. Interesting. I think that this one is like the moment in the relationship that snapped her out of the routine of living in that life with this boy, with like going to work, like probably some shitty job, probably one that causes her great pain because I'm imagining that she has trouble walking, like a waiting tables job, or a checkout job, or something like that hurts to do physically, but is full of people and is allows her to like experience the breadth of humanity. And I think at one point in the routine of going to work, working, coming home, going to sleep, with nasty interactions with the partner in the middle, it's like a week of pure routine. Nothing goes wrong, nothing goes right, everything just happens. And you get to the end of that week, and I think something small breaks the routine, like a new neighbor moves in next door, and comes around to introduce themselves, and they're in like, sorry, my dog is just barking. 1 second, let me deal with her. I'll leave the door open. She'll come and nap in here, I guess. That's what she usually does. Okay. Yeah, I think this is just this moment when she answers the door, probably for the first time in a long time, because people don't really get to know their neighbors, like, especially young people. Answers the front door, and there's somebody there who, like, in small talk, in passing, mentions they're here for their partner's job, but they're creative, or there's something, they've got some sort of work that isn't routine, that isn't part of the day in, day out for the Selkie. I think she's like, for the first time, realizing that human life doesn't have to be the thing that she is experiencing, and that what she's experiencing is not human life, but like a subset of human life that is specifically cruel, you know? I think that's the moment where she starts to go, shit, something has to change, and I can change it. Yeah. Okay, 7 of Hearts. Got a lot of hearts in this. That's fun. What's a 7? Oh, it's down here. Luck, surprise, and boldness. Love, obligation, intimacy, family. I think this one is a few years later, a few years after she's left this relationship. And it's just a moment where she falls in love again, unexpectedly. But maybe with somebody she's working with. I think she still like waits tables, or does that sort of job. But she's a wheelchair now. Instead of putting herself through that pain, because she thinks it's what to do. And I think she just like has one of those like brief moments of connection with a stranger. When I say brief, I mean like 1 to 3 days, you know, like just like a brief couple of days of a fun relationship, just like a bit of a fling, a bit of staying up all night and talking under the stars, a bit of dreaming about the future, a bit of like getting to know each other, and like getting to know the way that the other person smiles, and just like, but never getting too much deeper than that, you know? But also feeling in those days that this is the most completing relationship you've ever been in. And I think that the other person moves on. It was always the plan for them to move on. And I don't think the Selkie is heartbroken. I think she's just glad that they had those 3 days. And I think they keep in touch. I think they're friends now. Like, they keep in touch by the phone or by mail or whatever. I don't know what time period this is. Well, it's post-apocalyptic if it's my actual Selkie from my campaign. But yeah, they keep in touch. And I think they stay close friends. But for those 3 days, it was love. Next card. 5 of Clubs. That's different. Handiwork, the senses, spirituality. Oof. This one's gonna hurt. I'm gonna go for spirituality. I'm gonna approach it from the lens that I don't think is authentic to the... Well... So I grew up Christian, right? Pentecostal, specifically, for context. To, like, understand the context here. So I'm not Catholic, my mum's Catholic now, but what I've done a couple of times in my life is when I've moved to a new town, I've gone to a church, or I've looked up the local churches. And I wonder if during her time away from this away from home, away from her skin, away from the ocean. She tries this. She recognizes there's a part of her soul that's like hurting and missing, and humans talk about going to church. And they consider it something healing for them, something good for them. And they, and so she goes along, and she sits in the back of the church, and I'm imagining it's this small town, and she sits in the back of this church, and at the front, the preacher is talking about magic and alternate spirituality and the kinds of things that the Selkie grew up believing in, and in a way her entire existence, and is saying that these things were sent by the devil to tempt humans, to weaken them and to drive them away from love. And I think it's just like a really, really hurtful moment of isolation, of feeling like there is nobody in the world who is who is like her or is able to understand her or even believes that she exists and is a whole person. Let's not get too deep into this game is a lot. It's really good, but it's a lot. Holy shit. These prompts are powerful. And I mean, maybe that's because I've been in some toxic relationships. Maybe that's because I did grow up in that type of church. Maybe it's because of a few things. But, oof. This one's... I feel like this episode's going to be really good. But also, oof. I'm hurting myself here. 10 of clubs. Great, more clubs. Journey, justice, the completion of a task. Oh. I think this is the moment in which she finds the skin. Before she gets up the courage to put it back on. I think she goes back to the town that she lived in with this boy. And he's still there. And there's another girl living in his house. I think my character can't see whether she's a Selkie or not. But is afraid of that. But can't look too long. And she starts investigating the town and trying to work out where this boy keeps, well, he's a man by now, but where he keeps her skin or kept her skin. I think she finds out that a couple of years ago he pawned it. And it's hanging from a coat rack in the local pawn shop, with a tag on it that says $15. And there's a hole in the skin where they've pierced it to put this price tag on. And I think she buys it. I think she buys it. She doesn't seal it. She doesn't think she'd get away with that. And she doesn't want to admit who she is to the pawn shop owner. and try to get it back that way. And so she buys it, takes it to the counter, pays for it, and then out back of back in a different hotel this time, she sits on a bed with takeout, and she cries as she looks at the skin, and cuts the price tag off and rubs her thumb over the hole in the skin. Okay. The Four of Diamonds. So that's judgment, seasons, and the passage of time, and diamonds as wealth, stress, distance, and appearances. I think I think that this is, oh god, I'm just like thinking of what this could be. Oh, I think this is when she realizes that when she buys the wheelchair, I think she has to, I don't know what the process of buying a wheelchair is like. I assume you go on a specialist website, or to a specialist store and get fitted and such. And I think there's that. I think there's a conversation, an awkward conversation with the person who's fitting her for the wheelchair, and is saying like, I think it's like a, I think it's like another person in a wheelchair who's doing it, and is doing the fitting and is showing her how to use it and explaining things like how to get on and off the buses, and warning her about the ways to prevent people from treating her like a prop or an object. And I think it's this very clear moment of like, almost thank God they'll finally be able to see that I am different to them. Like, strangers will now know that I experience the world differently than they do. I've been in pain for all this time, and they'll finally know what it's like. Well, they'll finally know that I'm experiencing a different world to them. And even the ways she's mistreated in those cases feel like validation of her experience. Not all the time, but sometimes. It's just this moment of, yeah, we live in different worlds. Another 10, this time hearts again. So journey, justice, the completion of a task. Love, obligation, family, intimacy, family. I think this is her last day at work before she travels back to her old town to get the skin back. I think it's just this moment of like embracing her friends, her co-workers, shaking the hand of her manager and getting like a farewell card that's been signed by everybody, and it's got like a $20 gift card in it or something like that, and it's just this moment of you're coming to the end of your journey, or to the end of this journey. You're embarking on a different one now, and your friends are going to miss you, but ultimately you're going on to do something that's better for you. And everybody who liked her at her job really respected that, and was excited for her. Just a really nice scene of like a farewell dinner. After closing time, most of the lights in the restaurant are off. That kind of thing. The Jack of Diamonds. A moment of laughter, relief, or humour. And wealth, stress, distance, appearances. I think this is the first time she laughed after leaving. Like genuinely laughed. Not like the fake customer service laugh. Not like, haha, yeah, totally. But like, actually like lost it laughing. After she left the town the first time, and I think she didn't realize she hadn't laughed in so long until this happened, and she lost her shit. And it was probably something small, something silly, like like she was at work and she almost spilled a tray of drinks because a seagull flew in the window and landed on the table in front of her when she was about to put them down. And just I think she was just lost in the inanity and the ridiculousness of that moment. And she laughed to herself, realised she hadn't laughed in so long, and laughed even harder. I think got in a little bit of trouble for nearly spilling the tray of drinks and for not dealing with the seagull better. But most people agreed that it was funny, including the customers. Two of Hearts. Duality, contrast, partnership. I think so. The last two I did, I think, is the literal opposite of this. I think this is spending time around people that make her kinder. Like, I think that for a while after she left, she was still a bit cruel. Still externalizing her pain, still putting it onto other people instead of herself. And still blaming others when things didn't go right, etc. And I think that as she's I think that she makes friends despite this, and that these friends are kind to each other, and to her, and pretty quickly it stops being appealing to be cruel to people, you start going, you start second guessing cruelty and thinking and acting differently. Yeah. So literally just like a reversal of that first two. 8 of diamonds. What's 8? Outdoor spaces, sound and music. I think this is just a really small thing. I think this is the night when she's got the coat but she hasn't put it on yet. She goes down to the pier in the town where she first met the boy. And it's not alone. She's not alone there. She's surrounded by this night market that never was on last time she lived here. She's never seen this night market before. But there's people dancing, and there's music playing, and people are laughing, and there's vendors selling food and selling drinks, and there's like performers and fireworks maybe, and it's like they're celebrating for her. She doesn't feel like celebrating much. She came down here to reflect, and I think she goes home pretty quickly, but she's glad somebody's celebrating that night. A 2 again. 2 of diamonds this time. I think this is another new friend. I think somebody that she worked with. Another young woman, perhaps. Somebody who, like, you know, your best work friend. You know, the person who you're best friends with, even if you never talk outside of work. Your work best friend. Yeah, I think this is this person who just, like, keeps the Selkies, like, heart up at work. Laughing together, making inside jokes, giving each other advice on how to deal with a manager or a customer. Somebody in a corner. And then there's the Queen of Hearts. So that's the last card. And so that's the moment where the Selkie waits until the night market's been packed up. And the tents are gone, and the musicians have stopped, and then everybody's gone home. And she takes her suit down to the dock. And she pulls it over her head. And I'm gonna try to pull my hoodie over my head and not fuck up my headphones because the zip's broken, so I never put it on the proper way. Ugh. Cozy. And dives into the water. And I'm going to put this cracker in my mouth. For a bit. And I'm going to do what I do, which is I go to the games page and I rate this game 5 stars. And I say, this game is really powerful. It's evocative. And I loved how much the game encouraged how easy it was to think of each card as a step in the journey, even non-consecutive or non-linearly. Yeah. Submit. Now follow. Beating the binary. Because again, this is beating the binary. Who is Moss Bosch, or Adana on Twitter. They have a Patreon as well. And they've got a lot of other games. So I recommend checking out their games. I really enjoyed this one. I'm definitely going to check out more of their games later. But for now, I'm just going to call it there. I'm going to eat my crackers and drink some water. And I will see you all tomorrow for The Sims. See ya!